Greetings, greetings, greetings to all of my loved ones. Welcome back to another episode of Healing Wisdom with me, Empress Oracle, your favorite, realest, sexiest spiritual advisor. On behalf of Starseed Galactic Federation, I have been given access to this knowledgeable information from my Akashic records for the purpose of helping humanity. This information has been given directly to me as a divine channel, and any use and or reproduction of this information without the proper acknowledgement or accreditation from where it was received will result in instant karma for the plagiarizing parties and or individuals. And so it is. Now, I know y'all see the title. So today we are going to talk about burning bridges, because there's a lot of bridges being burnt around here. Okay, it's a lot of fires being set, a lot of bridges being burned. And as a person who personally, I burned a lot of bridges when I was younger, and I had to learn a lot of lessons. I lost a lot of opportunities. I lost a lot of good people in my life because I burned a lot of bridges when I was younger. But as I have grown and I have matured, I have learned a lot of life lessons. And now the same mistakes that I made in my past, I would not make those mistakes again today, because I have realized the value of the bridges that I have burned. You know, sometimes you look at a bridge and you're like, oh, it's just a bridge. That shit ain't nothing. But then it comes a point in time when you're ready to go somewhere, right? Where you have a particular destination, and you think about that bridge, that when you read the sign for the bridge, it was the shortcut to the destination you were trying to go. Now what? It happens, guys. But let me tell you something. Anytime you burn a bridge, it's supposed to be a learning experience, not just for the bridge owner, but also for the bridge burner. Now, speaking to today, since I have grown, since I have evolved, since I have ascended and learned a lot of lessons, and I have reaped the karma from the bridges that I have burned, whether it was dealing with the loss of an individual or opportunity, you know, because they always say hindsight is 20/20. I learned those lessons, and that is why I am so big on talking about karma. That's why I'm so big on treating people the way that I would like to be treated, because I was raised in the church, and I also went to Catholic school up until the 8th grade. So that has always been instilled in me to treat others the way that you would want to be treated. However, nobody is perfect. There has been times, especially in my youth, where I did not treat people the way that I wanted to be treated. Instead, whatever feeling that they invoked in me that had me so high and hot, I would want them to feel the same thing. So if somebody hurt my feelings, I wanted them to feel pain also. And that's how I ended up burning a lot of my bridges. Now, moving forward to today, I'm going to tell you, with the lessons that I've learned, I have also, unfortunately, become a bridge owner, should I say. So a lot of people have burnt bridges with me throughout the years, and these are not the same people that I burned bridges with. Some of it may have been karma. Nobody is exempt. So whenever I talk about karma, I talk about myself also. However, a lot of the bridges that have been burned in the past decade or so of my life were simply because people saw that I learned my lessons and they wanted to sabotage. Now, when I talk about burning bridges, I'm saying this, I'm talking about not just me and my experiences, but I'm also about to talk about what I have seen with other people who have burned other bridges in other scenarios and situations as well. What I have found, not just from my experience burning bridges, but also from the other people that I'm seeing all over burning bridges as well, is that ego plays a very large factor in burning bridges. A lot of times, everybody goes through different phases in life, different life cycles in life, because there's different things that you have to conquer. There's different emotions, there's different negative feelings that you have to conquer. And sometimes we come to a point in life where we have to choose what path we want to go down. We have to choose, do we want to be the bigger person in life or the smaller person in life? And a lot of times, unfortunately, what I'm seeing recently is that a lot of people who are burning bridges nowadays is ego based, because a lot of times they are burning those bridges based off of delusions of grandeur. Okay, so when I say delusions of grandeur, what I am saying is that they feel as though they are higher value, more important, or they have a more influential place or part to play in your life than what they really do. And a lot of times that happens a lot, not all the time, but it happens a lot when you're dealing with an empath and narcissistic relationship. That does not have to mean that that's your boyfriend or girlfriend. It can be your child, it can be your parent, it can be your friend, it can be your coworker, it can be your boss. Any type of person where you have one person who is a giver selflessly, and you have another person who is a taker selfishly. And a lot of times, unfortunately, us empaths, we take the misstep of feeding narcissists, giving them their narcissist supply, not because we are weak, not because we are insecure, don't love ourselves, but because a lot of times that is a form of our love language. And unfortunately, because a lot of people do not realize what true love is, they exploit that and they abuse that. And because a lot of people are used to negative energy, negative attention, because they feel as though any attention is good attention, that helps them to build these delusions of grandeur in their head to where they feel as though they rightfully deserve certain things from an empath, whether it is emotional, whether it is financial, whether it's physical, it does not matter. So a lot of times they will continue and continue and continue to go in a certain way, but what they're not realizing is that every time that you have somebody pour from their cup and you're not reciprocating, you're not pouring back into it, every time that somebody aids you, every time that somebody is there for you and you take advantage of that, you are burning a little bit of a bridge. So because a lot of times people have delusions of grandeur, they feel as though their actions are warranted. So they don't even realize that they're burning bridges with people. Every time that somebody goes and they move selfishly and they act and they don't think about everybody else who is involved in their actions, they don't think about the effect that it's going to have on other people, inadvertently they're ending up burning bridges, because at the end of the day, shit rolls downhill. So while they feel as though it's all about them and they feel as though they're the ones on top, all down the hill, going down the hill, are the people that they have hurt, the people that they have burned, their support system. So all the backlash and the shit from whatever they're doing is going to fall downhill and is going to affect the other people in their life that have put them on that pedestal, should I say, right? Who maybe have aided and abetted to those delusions of grandeur by pouring into somebody who, instead of taking that energy and transmuting it to something positive, they just let that energy go to their head, or they build delusions of grandeur. And what you have to understand is each time that you do that to somebody in your path in life, you are burning a bridge. And when I was younger, there was a saying that I heard where it said, be careful about burning bridges, because you never know when you're going to want to cross back over that bridge. It goes something like that. That's not verbatim, okay? But you guys know what I mean. And that is a very, 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 very true statement, because a lot of times when you have those delusions of grandeur, that means that you are a very egotistical person. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of people cannot tell the difference between their intuition and their ego. That's why I have a video on that, because a lot of times people end up listening to their ego. So they don't, as I said before, they don't realize at that time that their ego is what led them to burn that bridge. So by the time that they are out of that illusion, when reality hits, and they turn and they look around, they have no one, they have nobody, i.e. they have burnt the bridge and they cannot cross back. And that is very true. And I personally would like to say, for myself, in this day and age, on today, August 2nd, 2023, I would love to say, any person that I have had in my life that has burnt a bridge with me consciously, to where I have made you aware of your actions and you have chose instead to continue in your delusions of grandeur or narcissistic tendencies or whatever you have that is wrong with you, God bless you, I love you, but you cannot come back across this bridge, even if you swim. Even if you swim. And the reason why is because, as I always say, everybody has a conscience to a certain point. And once you disregard your conscience, which tells you, hey, you shouldn't be doing that, that's the voice of God. Everybody has that even if it's just a second, a split second before you do certain things, everybody has that split second. And sometimes that is what can differentiate you between light and dark. that split second can determine what way your path goes. So if you decide to go down a negative path or you decide to burn a bridge, we are not on the same vibration. We are no longer aligned. And there's no offense to any of those people. That's why I made these videos, to offer not just healing to myself, but to those who need it. However, you cannot you cannot come back cross, yeah. You understand me I say? Thank you. Now, that does not mean when people burn bridges with you, that does not mean not to forgive them, okay? Because ideally, the thing that you want to do is you do want to forgive people who have burned bridges with you, because as I have always said before, love is the greatest power of all. But just because you love somebody does not mean that you need to have them back in your life, especially when you see that they have a destructive pattern or they are a notorious or repetitive bridge burner. You have to love yourself more. You can forgive somebody who has burned bridges with you. You can forgive yourself for burning a bridge with somebody else. And you can move on and just know that you have learned the lesson. Because sometimes that has to happen in order for you to learn a certain lesson for soul growth. So you don't beat yourself up when you realize sometimes that you've burned bridges, whether on purpose or not on purpose. You take from that, you learn from that experience, and you grow from that. You have to put your ego to the side, because a lot of times people do not like to face themselves when they know that they're the ones that are at fault. And I'm going to tell you, delusions of grandeur and lack of accountability can make you go crazy, because internally, you know what you have done. You know the bridges that you have burned. Okay, I have been there before, and I had to stop blaming everybody. It came to a point in time where God literally sat me down and he said, look, bitch, you done fucked up. You done burned every fucking bridge. All right, you out here now. And he was like, you have to stop blaming everybody else. You have to look at the common denominator. Sometimes the common denominator is you, and sometimes you have to be realistic with yourself. I understand that it's you that you're talking about, so you're going to show some favoritism, but you also have to be realistic. Now, if you know that you are not the cause of the bridge being burnt, that's fine. Time always tells. No matter what, time always tells. So what you have to do is you just have to learn from it. You have to move forward. You have to move with class and grace, and understand nobody's perfect. Life is full of lessons. All right. That's why it is also very important for you to continue to stay balanced. Continue to make sure that you are cleansing your aura. Keep your heart open as possible and pure, because a lot of times people burn bridges and they do not realize that they were the cause of the bridge that was burned. And instead of looking at it and learning from that experience and becoming better, they choose to become bitter, which in turn hardens your heart and blocks off your ability to manifest properly and to give and receive love properly. That's why healing is very, very important. That is why I always put out my healing wisdom, because as I said, I'm not perfect, but I'm original. We don't strive for perfection. We strive for growth. We strive for elevation. We strive for spiritual ascension, because what we have to understand is our experience here on earth is supposed to teach us things to help us to grow and to elevate. We at the bottom of the barrel here on earth. All right? This is the hood. This is the ghetto. So everybody who is here, they're having a human experience for a reason. There are lessons that they need to learn. There are bridges that they need to rebuild or not burn in order to achieve and ascend. That's very important, guys. I don't want to ramble about it, but I feel like it's very important for you to realize sometimes when you burn certain bridges, you don't realize the value of that bridge at that time. But sometimes you realize that the bridges that you burn ideally were placed there to help you to get to where you need to be. That's why it is very important not to burn bridges with people. You can always separate from a situation with peace. You can always agree to disagree. You do not have to try to tear somebody down. You don't have to go get the kerosene. You don't have to go get the blowtorch and blow shit down because you're in your feelings. That is destructive, and that is also counterproductive, and that is also how you end up in a constant toxic cycle. Please avoid that for yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you took this message with love and benevolence, how it's being put out there, and I hope it was able to help somebody out there. Don't forget, while you're on your journey, if you need help, I do have an Etsy shop, Empress Oracle Shop, where there I make custom orders. I have healing crystals that can aid you on your journey of self-love, your journey of self-forgiveness if you may have burnt some bridges. Okay, I have body butters for you to help to enhance your self-love so that you know your worth and you know clear discernment of what is for you and what is not. I have body butter to protect you from negative energy while you're on your path. I have body butter for money and abundance. I have baths to cleanse your aura. All of these things are important as you're on your spiritual journey. So don't forget to check me out there again. I said on Etsy at Empress Oracle Shop. I love you all, and I hope this message was well received. TTYL.